So this is lightning over an airfield.
Yeah. I went up in the tower there at New Orleans Naval Base, and it was a thunderstorm, and so I just opened the camera and I says, "Now lightning!" Bang! I shut the lens, and that's it. But see, there was a little.
You were hand holding the speed graphic, and so this lit the airfield. Wow.
The New Orleans newspaper used that on their magazine section. Almost at full. That's full size.
Look, here's an aerial of the airfield.
Naval Air Station.
Yeah. I bet that was classified information in this time.
Well, that's where I almost got in trouble. You see, I took color Kodachrome from the air.
And had to send it off.
And I had to send it off. And I got a call into the commanding officers day one day. And I still got those slides. That was where that color picture of the airplanes was on that roll. I took one roll like that. No more. I learned. As long as I could do it myself, it was all right.
Right.
New Orleans paper used it on their cover again.
Okay.
And they used, I call it Precious Convoy. And then they had a picture of a ship of convoy of boats going out to sea. And they had this with it. In other words, the convoy of ships and then the convoy of swans.
So in its time, it just hit a chord.
That's right. And Life magazine used it also.
Really?
And it was used by a couple of different magazines, picked it up and used it on the cover.
Wow.
So that was probably the first picture I had that really was published in more than just one place.
Now, when you were photographing these guys, was there some communication going on as to how you wanted to line them up?
Nope. That was close order flying was part of their training.
Okay. But you talked to your pilots to where you wanted to go?
Just motion. We didn't have radios.
Okay, right.
That was before radio.
You wave to the guy behind you driving the plane to go forward, up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just kind of and then I had to see one plane that was used for photography, and so I have a photo plane there, and I go up and take pictures. In fact, my photo plane, the reason it's called a photo plane, we cut a hole in the bottom of it.
Okay.
So that I could shoot straight down to get vertical pictures. Because before I would always hang it over the side and have the pilot twist the plane up on a 90 so I could take pictures straight down. And so one day I talked to the officer and I says, "Why can't we make a photo plane and cut a hole in the bottom of it so I can take pictures straight down?" And when you turned the plane on the sideways, you lost all your lifts, so the plane would start to fall. So he'd come in and then he'd flip it on the side and hold it for a minute, and by that time we'd be losing altitude, so he'd have to dive down to pick up flying speed. And then we were getting pretty low. And I was so busy taking pictures, I wasn't worried about anything. I was letting the pilot do all that because I had the best pilots. And when we got back to the base, there was a commanding officer out there waiting for us with his arms folded. We came in. He says, "Lieutenant, I hope you got a good excuse this time." He says, "Yes, sir, what's the matter?" He says, "The phone's been ringing off the hook over here. You were buzzing Algiers Naval Base. What was the idea?" He says, "Gosh, I didn't even know we were over the Naval Base." He says, "We were trying to photograph that LST in the river." He says, "Boy," he says, "I'm glad you had a legal reason to do it." He says, "Because I've got to report to the Admiral why you were doing it." We tried to land on that, and all of a sudden we realized that if we landed, we wouldn't be able to take off. We were in one of those little N2Ss, and we came down and buzzed it, and they were all waving to us and telling us to come on down. And all of a sudden, she was, "Hey, how the hell are we going to get off?" Because that little Navy plane wasn't designed to take off on that.
Ooh, good stuff. Look at this. Oh, what a great group portrait. What is this of this big double-engine plane?
I must have taken it for the crew. I don't remember. This was the day we took this picture. This is the Bayou, fishing village.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, wow. Years ago of buzzing the fishermen in the bayou and scaring them off the boat. You got called in the carpet for that one?
No, we didn't. Nobody heard about that. Well, that was the one we were. pilot wanted to chase some ducks.
Oh, sheesh.
So we were chasing ducks on the Intuit. And so we were buzzing down the bayous trying to scare up the ducks. And all of a sudden the bayou was making a sharp turn, so we'd come to a turn and he'd go up in the air and cut back down in the next one. So we went up and we started to come back down, all of a sudden there was a boat. We couldn't have been more than 10 feet above it. Because we were down below the grass in the bayou, you know, the swamp grass gets back. So boy, they jumped right over the side. Canal Street. Look at the gorgeous ferry. You see it crossed the Mississippi River from there over to Algiers across the river. And we used to, when we get fogged in, we'd have to follow the river back down to find our way back to the airport.
Okay.
And one time we were so low on the river, we had to jump up to get over top of the ferry. Here's even a higher one.
Oh, okay.
The Mississippi River.
Wow, look at the meanders.
Now see, you couldn't take a picture like that today because of your small.
Right, I thought the air's not so big.
See, I was up about probably 8,000 feet when I took that.
Wow, that's clear as a bell.
Yeah. That's state capital Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
There was a big flood that year, and the newspaper wanted pictures of it, and so they got the Navy, and I went in a plane, the Navy plane, and we spent a whole morning photographing the flood up the Mississippi and the rivers up there in Louisiana.
There was our crew.
Oh wow!
Oh my goodness.
That was the Photo Lab crew.
Oh, that's remarkable.
That's when I first went there, and that would have been in '44.
You were a skinny rat.
See, that was that aerial camera, the K-24, with the roll. You had 50 exposures on a roll.
Okay.
And then you had development of a tank, aerial tank.
In your mom's basement, you had set up a dock?
Oh yeah, when I was 12 years old, I started photography and developing a roll film back when I was in about 13.
Okay.
You see, when I first went in the Navy, Doc, I thought I couldn't get in if I couldn't have perfect eyesight in the Air Force. Navy Air Force, I wanted to be a Navy photographer, and I was part of the Air Force. Okay. So I memorized all the eye charts so I didn't have to wear my glasses. So for the first year in the Navy, then I didn't wear my glasses. And then I realized that I didn't have to. It was correctable, the 20/20 vision. Then I started wearing my glasses again.
So you were a blind photographer for the first year.
Well, I could see all right close up. Of course, that's when I first learned I needed glasses. I was taking pictures, and all of a sudden the pictures were sharper than what I could see. See, I did all the public relations for pictures for the Navy there.
Oh, wow.
See, all lined up in dress whites. Well, that's Admiral King. He was head of the Navy. Sailors. Sunday afternoon in the park. That city park in New Orleans there. I used to go out. This is that bridge on Creek.
That's the name of it, City Park?
Yeah, City Park. New Orleans City Park. I spent a lot of Sundays out there. This cemetery is the Metro Cemetery. There's your mother interviewing for the paper. This was the first picture I took of your mother.
Oh, wow.
I was covering a Valentine's dance.
Oh.
I was the photographer. I was first came on, and she was there with.
Is that how you met?
Yep, that's how we met. Oh,
I didn't know that.
But that's the first picture I took of her, and then we met. She was a reporter, see, and I took a picture for her there. For the war bond drive. We bought a war bond with 3,750 pennies. That must have been one Dorothy took of me.
Oh, wow.
With the small I was using probably. This is our wedding. These are all our wedding pictures.
Oh, wow.
See, that's Dorothy's sister. This is Dorothy's mother. You can have any of these you want because these are extra print stuff. I've got some from albums. Johnny Haywood was my best man. I still get a Christmas card from him.
You were how old here? 22,
21.
21.
In fact, a couple of months short of 21.
Uh-huh.
Right? Had a Navy pilot, flew us a Navy plane. And the funny part, John, we arrived at an Army Air Base over in Edgewater Gulf in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay.
And they radioed ahead of time and said, we got some VIPs coming. We're going to take them to the Edgewater Golf Hotel. So, man, when we arrived, there was a red carpet laid out there and a car waiting with a chauffeur. And we get out, and the captain drinks us and takes us over and puts us in the car.
And you had your rank on, right?
I mean, you know, we're just a couple. The guy that was an Army private, as soon as we got off the base, he turned around. He says, okay, you got to tell me what's this all about. He says, how do you rate this?
How did you explain it?
I says, well, because this was the skipper's, this was the commanding officer's airplane, his personal plane, see? And he had his pilot fly us over, and he's the one, the commanding officer made all the arrangements, see? I says, well, I'm a photographer there, and we kind of take, okay, that's all, you don't need to say anymore.
Photographers rated high in those days.
Yes, sir. That is our first apartment in New Orleans. It had been a chicken coop. I mean, literally, actually, it was a chicken coop, and they put the chickens out and cleaned it up and remodeled it and made it into an apartment.
Oh.
It was just 10 feet wide and about 30 feet long.
Wow.
Well, this is the one. That's the main. That's the main one that's what the picture we're really looking for.
Okay.
The cathedral framed in that grill work.
Okay, right.
And we hunted and hunted for that.
Oh, there's the stair. This is where the site of it is.
Yeah, up on the next floor, a couple of floors out.
Wow.
A series of those were ran in also in Times-Picayune. So Times-Picayune was just starting a Sunday magazine sections. And I did a lot of pictures for them. I did a whole series on these courtyards for the Times-Picayune. And they couldn't pay me any money for it, so what they would do would invite Dorothy and I down to the hotel for dinner.
Oh.
They'll take us out to dinner.
What's the birdie? Dear.
What's the birdie?
Oh, what's the birdie? Oh, dear.
That was a Navy. We were in the airport hangar, say, and the birds built nests in there, and that was a baby bird that was just learning to fly.
What do you guys want to eat for lunch?
I don't care, whatever you want, whatever you're going to feed us.
Is that you, Kenneth?
That's me.
You look like Jimmy Stewart. Robin says she's not hungry. I have ham, beef, I have avocado, I have fresh tomatoes that are lovely, I have all kinds of vegetables. Why don't you all come up and make yourselves a
Yeah,
sandwich?
she's kidding. I'll take a ham sandwich.
You want a ham